I want to start this deep dive with a number that is, well, it's truly staggering.
Okay.
We're talking about astrology. And according to recent polls, 1 in 4 Americans, they express a genuine belief in its power.
And that belief isn't just, theoretical. We're talking about millions of people basing huge life decisions on this.
Decisions about what? Like medical.
Professional. All of it. Medical, professional, personal, you name it. And you can see why. It's everywhere. It's in, over 1,200 daily U.S. newspapers alone?
Right. And when you look up at the night sky, you are looking at the foundational source for both astronomy and astrology.
Exactly.
Today, we see them as completely opposed. One is this rigorous science, the other, a belief system. But for most of history, our sources call them the Siamese twins of star study.
And the core claim of astrology is, it's disarmingly simple, but also really profound.
Which is?
That your character, your whole destiny, is basically determined by the precise positions of the sun, the moon, and the planets among the stars.
At the exact moment you were born.
Yeah.
At that exact instant. And it's all interpreted through that birth chart, the horoscope.
So our mission for this deep dive is to trace that history, to understand how these twins lived together for so long, and then critically, to look at the modern scientific and, astronomical flaws that drove them apart.
And then finally, unpack the powerful psychological reasons why this ancient idea still has such a grip on us today.
Okay, let's unpack that historical unity, because for thousands of years, these fields were not rivals at all.
Not at all. They were born from the exact same observations. You look at the ancient Babylonians, they were just incredible observers of the heavens.
To the point where they could actually track planetary paths, predict lunar eclipses.
Using these extremely sophisticated algebraic algorithms.
Which today we'd immediately call that astronomy. Pure science.
But the motivation behind it was pure astrology. The Babylonians were obsessed with predicting the influence of those planets on, earthly affairs.
So the science was just the tool.
It was the handmaiden to the art of divining their meaning?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the person who really standardized this whole world, both the science and the belief system, was Claudius Ptolemy, right? In the 2nd century.
Yes. He wrote the definitive textbooks for both fields. For astronomy, he gave us the Almagest,
which defined Western astronomy for, over 1,000 years?
And right alongside it, he wrote the Tetrabiblos, which was all about the philosophical and practical side of stellar influence. He saw them as two complementary aspects of the same science.
One defined the position, the other defined the influence.
Exactly. And that view held for a very, very long time.
And when Greek learning was revived, say, in the Islamic Empire, it was astrology that led the charge again.
That's right. Our sources point out that the very first Greek texts translated into Arabic were astrological ones. They needed those first.
And then, to make sense of the astrology, they needed the math.
They then needed the translation of the astronomical and mathematical books to underpin the whole thing. It's a constant pattern. The divinatory need drove the scientific necessity.
So astrology was the mistress, and astronomy was the handmaiden. That's a great way to put it. Even in the Renaissance, you had university chairs for mathematics.
In places like Krakow, Ingolstadt.
Created specifically to train medical students.
In something called iatromathematics. They needed to know how to cast accurate horoscopes to figure out the cause, the course, and the cure for a patient's sickness.
Wait, so the stars were thought to explain your physical health?
Completely.
That is just a huge claim, especially for the era of the scientific revolution. How did someone like Johannes Kepler, the man who gave us the laws of planetary motion, how did he rationalize that?
That's the crucial historical fact. The line was blurry. All the big names, Copernicus, Tycho Brahe, Kepler, even Galileo, they were all practicing astrologers.
Do they genuinely believe in it?
Oh, absolutely. Kepler cast horoscopes all the time. Figures like Regiomontanus undertook the entire reform of astronomy just so he could improve the accuracy of his astrological charts.
The scientific drive was just to make better astrological tools.
That was the fuel.
So when did these inseparable twins finally split? We always assume it was Copernicus, right? The shift to the heliocentric model.
Surprisingly, no. Horoscopes are calculated based on the position of planets on the ecliptic plane. That stays pretty much the same, whether the Earth or the Sun is at the center.
So a change in the geometry didn't invalidate the charts?
Not fundamentally, no.
So what did? What was the actual break?
The split in the late 17th century was entirely philosophical. It was the abandonment of that old Aristotelian idea of as above, so below.
The macrocosmos and the microcosmos.
Exactly. That was the theory that provided the mechanism, the philosophical reason to believe that celestial movements must correspond to earthly events.
And once that philosophical justification was gone?
And science began relying purely on testable physical forces. Astrology just lost its legitimacy in the scientific world.
Fascinating. Okay, so history aside, let's talk about the cold, hard universe today. What does modern science actually say about this? Does the physics even allow for any of it to be true?
The short answer is no. And the first huge problem is just that the Earth is a dynamic object. We're talking about the Earth's wobbly rotation.
Right, what astronomers call precession.
It's like a child's top that's slowing down. Our planet's axis is tipping around in a huge circle, very, very slowly. It takes over 25,000 years to make one full circuit.
And that's a problem because the rules of the zodiac, the signs, were all codified about 2,000 years ago.
Around the time of Ptolemy's Tetrabiblos, yes. And since then, that slow wobble has shifted the entire alignment of the stars relative to our calendar dates.
Wait, so you're saying the system is basically out of sync with the actual sky now?
By about one full astrological sign.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. If you're born on August 1st, you are, astrologically speaking, a Leo. But if you were to actually look up at the sky today, you would see the sun is in the constellation Cancer.
So almost everyone's sun sign is based on a sky that existed 2,000 years ago, not the sky we have now.
That's right. The map is ancient and doesn't match the territory anymore.
And the map was already a bit arbitrary to begin with. The Babylonians picked 12 signs.
Right, but the sun actually passes through 13 constellations, so astrologers just have to ignore one of them.
Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer.
Ophiuchus. It falls between November 30th and December 17th. That's more than 2 weeks where the sun is in a constellation. The entire 12-sign system just pretends isn't there.
And that's the historical definition, if we use the modern astronomical definition.
It's even worse. Astronomers calculate that 21 constellations fit the bill. It just shows how artificial that original 12-sign system really was.
Okay, so the sky has shifted. The geometry was arbitrary. Let's talk about physical influence. If the effects of astrology are carried by known forces like gravity or magnetism, the whole thing just collapses, right?
It absolutely does. And this is where the sheer scale of the universe is just hostile to the claim. Let's just focus on gravity. What's the biggest gravitational influence on a baby at the moment of birth?
I'm guessing it's not Mars.
Not even close. A simple calculation shows that the obstetrician delivering the baby exerts about 6 times the gravitational pull of Mars on that newborn.
6 times. Just by being closer.
Just by being closer. And if you calculate the tidal force, it's even more absurd. The doctor exerts 2,000 billion times the tidal force of Mars. Distance matters a lot.
That really hammers it home.
Yeah.
Because in physics, influence drops off dramatically with distance.
And that's exactly what astrology ignores. A planet's importance in a horoscope is based on its angle, its sign, not its physical distance. It has the same influence whether it's near or far.
Which violates everything we know about long-range forces in the universe.
Everything. And that's not even mentioning the rest of the cosmos.
Right. Astrology just limits itself to our little solar system.
Yes. It ignores the colossal, overwhelming influence of billions of other bodies out there. The Star Rigel, the Crab Nebula Pulsar, the Andromeda Galaxy. If influence is celestial, why stop at our backyard?
So the history's fascinating, the science is hostile. Now for the ultimate test. Does it actually work?
Empirical verification. And the answer, put plainly, is no. Careful, statistically valid tests consistently show it doesn't work.
Let's start with relationships. That's a huge area for astrology.
It is. So psychologist Bernard Silverman did a big study. He looked at birth dates for nearly 3,000 married couples and almost 500 divorced couples.
And the claim is that astrology can predict compatibility.
Exactly. And Silverman found absolutely zero correlation. Incompatibly signed people married and stayed together just as often as compatibly signed ones.
Okay, what about careers? Certain signs are supposed to be better for certain jobs.
Right. So physicist John McGurvey looked at the birth dates of 6,000 politicians and 17,000 scientists to see if they clustered in the predicted signs. The signs were distributed completely at random, just a total scattershot. The sample size was huge, and the result was clear: randomness.
But the big one, the one that really tried to get it right, was the Carlson test published in Nature.
Yes, this one is famous. He wanted to get past the objection that other tests didn't use real astrology, so he got 28 professional astrologers to agree to the procedure.
What do they have to do?
So a subject gives their birth details. And the astrologers draw up a full, proper horoscope. Then they are given that horoscope and 3 personality profiles. Only one is the actual subject's.
And their job is to match the horoscope to the right profile.
Their job is to match it. Simple as that.
And what was the result? They predicted they'd score pretty high, I imagine.
Very high. The actual accuracy rate was 34%.
35%.
Which is exactly what you would expect from random guessing. Picking 1 out of 3. It was statistically no better than throwing darts at a board.
And if you look at published predictions from famous astrologers,
tracked over 5 years, they were wrong 9 times out of 10. Only 10% correct. So hardly a reliable guide.
Okay, so if the history is complicated, the science is hostile, and the predictions fail, then why? Why is this still a billion-dollar industry? It has to be something inside us.
It's not in the stars. It's in ourselves.
Exactly. And this brings us to the psychological mechanism, the Barnum effect.
Named after P.T. Barnum, who said, a circus should have a little something for everyone.
Because a mass-market horoscope has to apply to, what, 500 million people?
Yep.
So it has to be vague and general.
And the classic experiment on this was done in 1948 by Bertram Forer. He gave his students a generic personality profile that he'd pieced together from various horoscopes.
And he just asked them to rate how accurate it was for them personally on a scale of 1 to 5.
And the average rating he got back was a stunning 4.26 out of 5.
Wow. What kind of statements were in it?
Things like, you have a great need for other people to like and admire you, or the classic double-headed statement, at times you are extroverted, while at other times you are introverted, wary, reserved.
Which applies to literally everyone.
Of course. It's a double-headed statement. It contains opposites, so it's guaranteed to feel true. Barnum profiles work because they're almost always highly favorable. They contain socially desirable traits.
And we want to believe good things about ourselves.
There's a clear self-bias. Studies show people rate desirable traits, even really rare ones, as more true of self than true of others. We accept the flattery.
But what's really interesting, and maybe less about just vanity, is what they found about flaws.
Yes, researchers found that people showed greater acceptance of non-personalized common faults. These are undesirable traits that are pretty common.
Wait, why would they accept the faults more readily?
The theory is that people are more willing to admit a flaw if they believe others of their type, so people born under their sign also share that flaw. It makes it feel
shared and normal.
Exactly. It provides a kind of psychological comfort.
And that desire for guidance is so powerful. We know that just being told a profile was made for you based on your birthday makes you accept it more.
It goes even deeper. In one test, researchers gave people readings but reversed the content. They substituted phrases that were the complete opposite of what the horoscopes actually said.
So they gave them contradictory advice.
Fundamentally inverted interpretations. And the subjects still rated the readings as accurate and applicable to them 95% of the time.
95%.
It just shows how keen people are for meaning and structure. They'll find it even when it isn't there.
So we've come full circle in this deep dive. Astronomy is a science. It's constantly correcting itself based on better data. Like Einstein's theory correcting Newton's for Mercury's orbit. It adapts.
Whilst astrology remains a belief system, it fails empirical tests, and it hasn't adapted to basic astronomical truths like precession. The utility of astronomy is prediction based on verifiable laws.
And the persistence of astrology is rooted not in physics, but in our psychology. Our deep need for meaning, for validation, for guidance.
The powerful need.
But here's a final thought to take with you, kind of going back to when the twins were still together. Even the failed pursuit of astrology sometimes led to good science.
How so?
Think about the attempts to improve astrometeorology, predicting the weather from the stars. That completely failed to find any cosmic pattern.
Right.
But to do that work, the astrologers had to keep meticulous, accurate, daily weather diaries to compare with their star charts.
So the process of trying to prove the wrong thing.
That process of rigorous, organized data collection. It ultimately laid the foundations for modern scientific meteorology. They failed at their goal, but they accidentally created the method for a real science.
That's a fantastic point.
So the provocative thought for you is this. What current practices or belief systems, even ones with really shaky empirical ground, might today be producing unexpected data sets or insights that could become the stepping stones for the next generation's breakthroughs? Embracing a productive skepticism just might be the key.